Dear friends, in this video I am going to talk hatchery seed production of shrimp. Before going to the detail, you have to select the site as farming. Before going to farming, you have to select the site. In this hatchery also, you have to select the site. Location. Suitable sites are sandy and rocky shore because there is clean, clear and good quality seawater all year round. Swamps and muddy shores are avoided. Coming to the seawater supply, clean, clear and relatively free from silt. Stable with minimal fluctuation in salinity. That area we have to select. Availability of spawners is very important, and availability power source is very important, and freshwater availability is important, and climatic conditions are very important. You have to consider all those things. Availability of spawners, it should be easily available and the spawners should be low cost. Availability of power source. So running of the hatchery, aeration and aeration is very important. For that electricity is necessary, so sufficient electricity is very much needed. And if it is not there is a electricity failure and you have to give aeration through power generator, and it is we know when compared to electricity, power generator is costly. Freshwater supply, and you have to select the site which is always supplying fresh water, because plus fresh water is necessary for salinity adjustment, equipment maintenance and domestic use. Ideal climatic conditions are very important. Sunlight is available throughout the year and suitable in temperature region, suitable in temperate region. Size of the hatchery, there are three types of hatchery: in small scale hatchery, medium scale hatchery and bigger size hatchery. This is based on the production. This small hatchery is always owned and managed by the shrimp grower himself. Space ranging from a few square meters up to about 1,000 square meters. This is very small in nature. Usually the hatchery owners involved in this, no labors are used, and the production may be their own purpose. If it is excess, it is going for the sale, but mostly the main aim is for their own purpose. Medium scale hatchery, larger than a small scale hatchery, more labor are required, annually 10 to 20 million post larvae produced, somewhat higher than small hatchery. Right here the labors are used, and investment is little bit high when compared to small hatchery. Then large scale shrimp hatchery, this is totally a commercial hatchery, complete commercial hatchery, and mainly for commercial purposes. National agencies or cooperative projects, more labor required, more cost, investment is very high. Then you have to know how will you differentiate male and female, right? In most of the shrimps, the male sexual organ is petasma, that is situated in the petasma is there, and the female sexual organ is thelecum. You should thorough in that, otherwise you will confuse yourself. Sometimes you select male as a female, right? This is male. This is male. See, this is called petasma, small projection from first swimming leg, right? This is petasma. This is petasma. See that small projection, and this is called thelecum, female genital organ. which is situated between fourth and fifth walking leg. So telecom is a female sexual organ and petasma is a male sexual organ. And this is the larval stages of shrimps, right? The spawn, the adult is usually in seawater, and it is actually dropping, spawning eggs, where fertilization taking place outside the water. We call it external fertilization. Actually, female shed its sperm and eggs into the water. Fertilization taking place outside the body, so it is called external fertilization. After 12 hours, this fertilized egg is hatched into Nauplius. Nauplius 6 substages, and this is molted into protozoa. Protozoa having 3 substages, that is protozoa 1, protozoa 2, protozoa 3, and this protozoa is molted into mysis. Again, mysis having 3 substages, that is mysis 1, mysis 2, mysis 3, and the final mysis stage is molted into post larvae. The post larvae is generally called, in farmer's point of view, it is called seed. This post larvae is moving to estuary area where the food is available plenty. This post larvae is converted into juvenile, and juvenile is converted into transformed into subadult, and subadult is converted into adult. The adult is again going to the estuary, seawater to get the sexual maturity. So all the larval stages are in seawater, and this from juvenile to adult, it is spending its time in the estuary. So this is called up to, from egg stage to this post-larval stage, this is called hatchery phase. This is called hatchery phase. From here to here, this phase is called culturing or farming phase. This is the life cycle of shrimps. Then coming to the hatchery facilities, a functional hatchery should have the following essential components. It needs maturation tank, then spawning tanks, larval rearing tanks, live feed culture tanks, and water storage and filtration tank. This maturation tank is for mother brooder, and spawning, releasing of eggs and sperm where fertilization taking place, and after hatching, it is larvae is hatched. The hatched larvae is transformed to larval rearing tank, and from the live feed is cultured in separate section, and it is introduced into the larval rearing tank. And water storage is you are getting the water from the seawater source and treated with chlorine and so on, and this treated water is pumping to live feed culture, larval rearing tank, spawning tank, and maturation tank. Maturation tank. The shape of the maturation tank can either be circular, rectangular, or oval. The tank capacity may vary from 5 to 40 tons with depth ranging from 1.2 to 2 meters. If the shrimps are kept for less than 5 weeks, bottom substrate is not needed in the tank. This is the maturation tank. And maturation tank, it is usually dark in nature. Outsiders are not allowed usually. Pin drop silence is maintained in this. You should not disturb the brooders unless for health sake and all. Right? So other feeding, water exchange, and so on. During that time only you can go into the maturation tank. Other time you should not allow to go because you should not disturb the animal. Spawning tanks. Spawning tanks should be circular with a flat or conical shape bottom. Water holding capacity may vary from 50 liters to 1.5 tons. So this is the brooders. Larval rearing tanks. There are 2 types of rearing tanks are being used to rear the newly hatched larvae. Larger tanks with a capacity of more than 50 tons, smaller larval rearing tanks of about 3 tons capacity. And live feed culture tanks. In mass cultivation of live food organisms, size of the tanks usually ranges from 1 to 20 tons, made of either fiberglass, polyethylene, marine plywood or concrete. Water storage and filtration tank. Water storage tank is normally elevated to effectively distribute water by gravity to the hatchery. Normally constructed out of reinforced concrete to withstand the water pressure. So this is the larval rearing tank. You can see the aeration tubes. Here only I worked for 2 years as a technician. See that tank, central pipe is there. If you lift the central pipe and all the water will be drained. Right, this is the aeration tubes. You can see the air stones. Here the control is there. This is aeration pipes coming from generators or air blowers. It is coming from generally not generators, air blowers. From air blowers, the air is coming through the PVC pipes, and here control is there. It depends upon your requirement. You can increase or decrease the aeration level. Air sources are there and tanks are there. This is water. If you open this, this tank will be filled with this water. This water source, water pipe. And this is live feed culture area. We are feeding larvae with algae, microalgae. This is indoor culture, small culture, and this is a little bit high. We call it a stock culture. Then outdoor. So this indoor culture is not producing much amount. So you are going for the outdoor culture. Outdoor culture is either in open or it is also indoor, right, within roof, right here. But this will be practiced in air-conditioned room. These are the various microalgae used for rearing of larval forms, that is Tetraselmis. It is 10 to 15 μm, and Isocrasis 3 to 5 micromeum, and Chaetoceras, then Sculetonema. This Chaetoceras and Sculetonema we have used in our hatchery. These two, Chaetoceras and Sculetonema, were used as a feed for the Apinaeus monodon larval forms. This is Artemia. Artemia cyst is available in the tin form. Whenever you require it is introduced in the tank or small container, and you are providing optimum environmental condition with vigorous aeration. Depends upon the strain. Within 18 hours or within 20 hours, even sometimes 36 hours, it will hatch out. You will get the Artemia nauplii. This Artemia nauplii also uses a feed for the larval forms. So this is the water source. You are taking through this pipe. You can receiving the water from the natural resources, and it is filtered. This is the overhead tank, isn't it? Filtered, and it is aerated. And before aeration, it is treated with chlorine and allowed to stand for 24 hours with vigorous aeration. That is very, very important. Why you are treating this water with microbes to kill? Why you are treating this water with chlorine means you are killing the microbes and disease-causing organisms. Right? Then after 24 hours, you just treating this water with sodium thiosulfate to neutralize the effect of the chlorine. You are taking small sample and adding 1 drop of O-toluene. If you get yellow color, that means still the chlorine residue is available. If you are not getting, it is neutralized. The water is neutralized. Now it is ready to pump to larval rearing tank or broodstock tank or your nursery tank or your live feed culture tank or larval rearing tank and so on. This is filtered. This is we call it swan filter to filter the mud and all, isn't it? Your water having mud and even it kill the microbes, and again it is treated with UV sterilizer. So our intention is we have to kill the disease causing organisms. And transparent roof, I already told you, transparent roof is very essential for penetrating light, isn't it? Light is very essential for larval rearing. And this is the inner view of hatchery. Aeration is there, and now the the larval rearing is going on in full swing. Right? This is spawning tanks. And this is Artemia culture tank we already discussed. Water storage tank. This photograph is actually taken from outside India. Now coming to the aeration. Aeration is necessary for maintaining sufficient dissolved oxygen concentration in the water, for ensuring even water temperature throughout the water column through the turbulence. It is provided with a roots blower, rotary blower or an air compressor. In culture, tanks with a depth less than 2 meter as an pressure of about 0.2 to 0.3 kg per cubic centimeters and a volume of 45 liters per meter square per minute is sufficient to oxidize the dissolved organic matter in the tanks. This is aeration. You are giving aeration. And this is air blower through which air is sent to all aeration tubes. Air blower we call it. And this is aeration system. See that? And this is a water system through which the water is going into the tanks. So this is receiving water from the overhead tank, that is a storage tank where water is filtered and treated, right? And also it is treated with the UV radiation as well as many treatment. Once it is pure, we thought that it is a pure water and it will be pumped to various tanks. See that drainer, every morning you should exchange the water. So this is a drainer, we call it, this is drainer, water drainer. We put the water drainer, other end the pipe is there, isn't it? The water will go out from the tanks, right? So the mesh size is changed according to the size of the animal. See the aeration tubes. Marine pumps. Centrifugal pump is more desirable in the big hatchery because it has higher total head capacity. Small or backyard hatchery, a submersible pump with a discharge pipe diameter between 1 to 4 and a discharge capacity of 6 to 20 tons per liter. Layout of the pond, layout of what do you call the hatchery. So the layout. Layout of the hatchery should provide a scheme design of the location and integration of various facilities such as building, broodstock tanks, larval rearing tanks, nursery tanks, spawning tanks, pump house, air supply and power house, laboratory, stop house, piping for water supply and draining canal. Preparation of broodstock for spawning. Conditioning of broodstock. The holding tanks should be big enough to provide proper space and aeration. 60% of the water in the tanks is changed daily. The salinity is decreased by about 4 to 5 ppt for 2 days and then increased to the normal salinity of the seawater. Mating occurs during this time. Complete appendage, that is induced maturation. Induced maturation, we are performing eye stalk ablation. Complete appendages, presence of spermatophore in the thelecum of the female, and size should be at least 100 gram. Size should be at least be 100 gram. So this is the eye stalk ablation, right? You are cutting the eye stalk. Now electrocautery is used, and even by sterilized scissors also used. Maintenance of broodstock in maturation tank. Sampling. Gonadal development of an ablated female is checked 3 to 5 days after ablation. With checking for gravity female is carried out every other day. During sampling, an underwater flashlight tied to a pole is held dosage to the held close to the shrimp so that the light strikes perpendicularly on the dorsal part of the body where the ovaries are located. Only gravid females with stages 3 and 4 ovaries are collected and transferred to spawning tanks. Preparation of facilities for spawning, hatching and larval rearing. Newly constructed hatchery, operational hatchery. Water quality and water supply. Most important factors in hatchery operation must be regularly monitored for important physicochemical parameters. Initial water passing through the filter must be drained by prevent bacterial load. Disinfecting and cleaning the chemicals will make the filter neat. Selection of spawners and egg collection. Spawning time from December to March and June to September. The criteria used for selecting spawners from the wild are stage 4 ovary, presence of spermatophore underneath the thelicum, coloration, presence of appendages and good health. Procurement and transportation of spawners. Life is holding compartment in the boat with running water system. Holding tank with aerated seawater at the control temperature 20 to 24 degrees C using ice. Plastic bags injected with oxygen and packed in styrofoam boxes. Bamboo or PVC tips are used to transport. Treatment of spawners. Spawners are usually treated with either Treflan, potassium permanganate and formalin for 10 to 15 minutes. Spawning activity. Spawning usually occurs while swimming with the spermatophore in the thelicum and eggs are released from the genital pole. Sperms are likewise discharged into the water through an aperture at the base of the fourth periapod. After spawning, the animals is removed from the tank the following morning. During the cold storage season, fungus and bacteria are likely to infect the eggs during incubation. Dipping the eggs in 1 ppm malachite blue or 0.5 ppm malachite to kill the fungus. Eggs of most species of shrimps within 12 to 18 hours after fertilization at the temperature and salinity ranges from 28 to 30 degrees C and 30 to 23 ppt. Transportation of naples. It is transported in a plastic container or plastic bags. Larval rearing and larval rearing in small indoor tanks, the protozoa and mysis. These are the various larval stages: fertilized egg, Nauplius, zoea and mysis. And these are the PL5, PL15, PL12. Nursery tank, small nursery tank. Once you get the post larvae, that will be packed in plastic bags for transport, isn't it? The farmers come and purchase this post larvae. It is packed in polythene bags loaded with oxygen. This is the laboratory. You have various chemicals for this hatchery. Thank you very much.